respond to change is so important. You could stick your head in the sand and pretend it isn't happening. Frankly, you wouldn't be alone because half of the people who live in Washington, D.C. do that on a daily basis. You could run away from change and leave opportunities to everybody else while you rant on Facebook about how unfair life is. But that's actually what the other half of the people in Washington, D.C. do. Or maybe, just maybe, you could take charge, you could embrace change, and you could make change your own. So when change happens and life throws you curveballs, dare to dive in head first. Be comfortable being uncomfortable so you can bend change into opportunity for you and for all of us. I know a lot of you are thinking, okay, so things change, big deal. But believe me, over the last 50 years, I've seen it. We have seen transformational change. Things happening that were impossible to imagine even in our wildest dreams. 50 years ago, there was no Columbia Point. I did not have a Columbia Point campus to go to. I actually had no campus to go to. You have a harbor walk. You know what I had? I had a walk on the wild side. My freshman math class was in the combat zone above a strip joint. No joke. It was the only math class I ever took that wasn't incredibly boring. At least the music was really catchy. 50 years ago, we pumped leaded gas into our cars and people smoked on planes and we used landlines and phone booths to talk to each other. I bet there's lots of you out there sitting there who can explain to me how Snapchat works, and none of you have any idea what a phone booth looks like. 50 years ago, the average price of a new car was $2,500. You know what that buys you now? A good down payment on an Apple Watch. You can't even drive an Apple Watch, folks. Not yet anyways, but I bet at some point in time, you'll be able to take your watch and go, beam me up, Scotty. Yes, we did have Star Trek almost 50 years ago. And 50 years ago as a kid, our big day in the summer was to have a picnic in a swim at Tinian Beach right up the street. Thank you, it was great. The only problem with it was after we got out of the water, we'd have to peel blotches of oil and tar off our skin. You know, today our world is very different. Our phones, cameras, and computers are crammed into a little piece of metal and glass with more power in our pockets today than NASA used to put Americans on the moon. The International Space Station can print spare parts on a 3D printer. And oh yeah, we have an International Space Station, people. The fastest growing sector of jobs in this country today is solar energy. Thank you, adding over 26,000 jobs last year. And if I learned my combat zone math correctly, that's about one job every 20 minutes. Go grab those jobs, kids. And after a march across a bridge in Selma, after the passage of the Voting Rights Act, the President of this United States is living proof of half a century of change to endow rights long dreamed of and fought for. And last but not least, just this week, Ireland became the first country to legalize gay marriage by referendum. Talk about change, proud day for the Irish. You know, that blue water that surrounds Columbia Point, the breath of fresh air that you just took, lead-free gasoline, smoke-free airplanes in campuses, yippee! UMass Boston just became, you don't know they became smoke-free? Don't light up in here. Federal and state environmental laws and an EPA that's on the job protecting your health and your future. That is the power of 50 years of embracing and leading change. But there's still a lot to do, and all of us up here are counting on all of you. You know why? Because if you want to know who has been in the front line of leading change at any point in our history, you have to look in the mirror. It's been young people like you,